social class refers to a group of individuals who share a similar economic status. There are three main social classes in Australia: the upper class, the middle class, and the lower class. The social class of a family affects a child's education directly by creating inequalities between the classes. Fred Argy explores the different ways in which this is seen to be true. His first argument relates to the completion rates of the schooling system between the classes. He explains that the completion rate for the lower and middle socioeconomic classes was significantly lower than that of the upper class. These statistics can be supported by the Productivity Commission 2005, which estimated that the completion rates for lower and middle classes would be much lower than that of the upper class. Early childhood centres and childcare centres are an important factor in a child's overall education. However, social class plays a large role in this too. A study by Rood 2005 shows that families cannot afford the expenses of these childcare centres. We can see the importance of these childcare centres in a study by Scatella and Smith 2005. Their study revealed that early education helped in the development of emotional and cognitive development in children. It showed the impacts it had on economic well-being and health. It also revealed that children that attended early childhood centres and childcares performed much better in primary school settings. Similarly, in an article by Gooch 2005, we can see the importance of early childhood education. In the article, Gooch explains that children who do not attend early childhood education centres are developmentally at risk in areas such as physical health, emotional maturity, social competence, communication skills, and in their mental health. Another major problem that directly relates to the social class inequality issue would be government funding. While the government does provide relatively free public education, Argy 2007 argues that the government spend less money on education than any other OECD countries. On top of this, the money that they do spend on education is to help the already advantaged students. This puts the upper class at an even greater advantage to the middle and lower classes, creating a bigger gap between the social classes. Toronto 1993, as cited in the Module 2 Contemporary Ethical Theories lecture, defines care as involving engagement, reaching out to something other than the self, and a lack of self-absorption. She notes 4 stages of caring. Number 1, caring about. Number 2, taking care of. Number 3, caregiving. And number 4, care receiving. The issues at hand that we have previously discussed relate to this ethical theory as something must be put in place for the middle and lower classes in order to care for them well and to care for them properly. An article written by Anslow Chapman, Dyson, Gunter, Hall, Kerr and West looks at the different types of strategies and interventions that were implemented in the UK to minimise this social class gap in education. 3 of these strategies, which I will be basing my program off, include targeting underachieving groups, which looked at programs that developed basic social, maths and literacy skills, structural interventions, which looked at collaborative practices such as pooling staff and resources where scarce, and beyond school interventions, which suggested that education had a link to home life and that out-of-school activities such as breakfast club were important. My program will include 3 parts. Part 1 will include an in-school activity day, free of charge. This will happen on a monthly basis. This part of the plan will target the underachieving groups in that the program involves monthly activity days where government-funded outsourced tutors come and work one-on-one with both advantaged and disadvantaged children. This allows to still encourage and support the advantaged children while simultaneously providing the help that disadvantaged children may not otherwise receive. This program will be free in order that all children may be able to have access to it. Part 2 of my program will look at increasing the government funding for in-class teachers' aides. This strategy can be classified as structural intervention. This part of the program will look at increasing the government funding for teachers' aides in order to ensure that all children will have constant and anytime access to the help that they need. It will also ensure that they will not fall behind in class. The third and final part of my program will look at engaging in constant contact with parents and family members of the students. This strategy can be classified under the beyond school intervention. This final part of my program looks at getting involved with and building relationships with the parents and families of the students. It would involve monthly meetings in a casual environment, such as a barbecue, in order to get an insight to students' family life. This meeting would include free childminding services to ensure that they are accessible to everyone and anyone. Toronto's 4 stages of care, as previously mentioned in this video, will all be met through my program by both the students and the parents and caregivers. Ultimately, my program will aim to achieve 3 main things. Firstly, an increase in government funding which will be used towards teachers' aides and specialised programs. Secondly, closing the gap between the upper and lower class in terms of school completion rates. And finally, to decrease the chances of the lower class being developmentally at risk in terms of social, mental, physical and emotional development. All in all, my program aims to overcome the educational inequalities that exist as a result of social class.